14 years old. Life without parole. Carly Madison Gregg sits in a Mississippi prison right now knowing she'll die there. She murdered her mother at an age when most kids worry about homework. Shot her 3 times. Got sentenced as an adult. Will spend every remaining day behind bars until she dies decades from now. February 2026. Her attorneys told the state Supreme Court that's unconstitutional, that locking up a child forever violates the Constitution. The court must decide. Does a 14-year-old who commits murder deserve to die in prison? To understand how a teenage girl ended up with that sentence, you need to know what she did. March 19, 2024. Tuesday afternoon. Brandon, Mississippi. A quiet suburban street in Rankin County where families live, where kids go to school, where mothers come home from teaching jobs expecting normal evenings. Ashley Smylie finished her workday at Northwest Rankin High School around 4:30 p.m. She taught mathematics there, spent her day helping students understand equations and formulas, graded papers during her planning period, stayed after school to tutor struggling kids who needed extra help, then drove her familiar route home to her family. She was 40 years old, dedicated educator, respected by colleagues, loved by students who appreciated her patience. She pulled into her driveway that Tuesday with no warning that these were her final minutes alive. No premonition that her own daughter was about to execute her. Inside the house, Carly had been home alone since her own school dismissed earlier that afternoon. Students get out before teachers. She'd had more than an hour by herself. More than an hour to make a decision that would destroy multiple lives. More than an hour to retrieve a weapon and prepare to use it. Heath Smylie, Carly's stepfather, owned a .357 Magnum revolver. 6-shot firearm. Substantial stopping power. He'd purchased it legally, registered it properly, kept it stored in the master bedroom under the mattress for home defense. Common precaution in Mississippi. He believed it was safely secured. What he didn't know was that Carly had discovered its location months earlier, that she had access whenever adults weren't present, that she knew exactly where to find it. Ashley entered through the garage carrying her work bag full of student papers. She called out a greeting as mothers do, announced her arrival, expected her daughter to respond from wherever she was in the house. The exchange seemed normal, routine, safe. Mother and daughter under the same roof. Nothing suggested that within minutes, one would be dead and the other would be a murderer. Carly moved through the house with the revolver in her hand. The weight of it, the cold metal, 6 bullets in the cylinder. She walked down the hallway toward her mother's bedroom. Ashley was there, changing out of her work clothes, getting comfortable after a long day, starting what she thought would be an ordinary Tuesday evening at home. The moment came. Mother turned. Saw daughter, saw gun. Recognition must have flooded through Ashley's mind in that frozen second. Confusion, fear, disbelief that her own child held a weapon aimed at her. No time to speak, no time to beg, no time to understand why. First shot struck Ashley's skull. The force dropped her instantly. Her body collapsed to the bedroom floor. No scream, no cry, just sudden violence ending consciousness. But Carly didn't stop, didn't hesitate, didn't check if her mother was already dead. She fired again. Second bullet entering Ashley's head. Then third. Rapid succession. 3 triggers pulled. 3 shots fired at point-blank range into her mother's skull. Ashley Smylie died on the floor of her own bedroom. The room where she slept. Where she got ready each morning. Where she should have been safest. Brain trauma from multiple gunshot wounds. Death instantaneous. No suffering beyond that first terrible moment. Just life ending. 40 years concluded. Math teacher murdered. Mother killed by the child she bore. Carly stood in that room with a smoking revolver. 3 bullets expended. 3 remaining in the cylinder. Her mother's body at her feet. Blood spreading across carpet. Cordite smell hanging in air. What thoughts crossed her mind in those seconds? What emotions? What realization of what she'd just done? Only she knows. She's never fully explained it. She left Ashley where she fell. Didn't call for help. didn't attempt CPR, didn't show distress or panic, just walked away from the body, back through the house, away from the murder scene, carrying the gun that still held 3 unused bullets, half the cylinder empty, half still loaded. What she did next would prove crucial to prosecutors, would become evidence of her mental state, of her awareness, of her understanding that she'd committed murder. She didn't break down, didn't confess, didn't surrender to horror of what happened. Instead, she made choices, took actions, followed a plan that suggested consciousness and control. March 19, 2024, Tuesday afternoon in Brandon, Mississippi. Between 4:30 p.m. and 5 p.m., a 14-year-old girl shot her mother 3 times in the head, killed her instantly, then walked away from the body. And what happened in the hours that followed would determine whether she'd spend the rest of her life in prison. If you're still watching, you're clearly interested in real cases told in full. Like, share, subscribe now, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what comes next. Carly walked away from her mother's body with a loaded gun and reached for her phone. But not to dial 911, not to report what happened, not to get help for Ashley. She opened her messaging app, started typing, sent a text to a friend, classmate, another teenager, someone who had no idea what awaited her. The message was chilling in its casualness. Are you squeamish around dead bodies? Simple question, strange question, the kind of thing that makes you wonder if someone is joking, making dark humor, being weird for attention. The friend, whose identity was protected because she was a minor, referred to in court only as BW, thought it was exactly that. A joke, typical teenage edginess. BW responded asking what Carly meant. Was this some movie reference? Some meme? Some prank? Carly insisted she was serious. Said something had happened at her house. Said BW should come over. Should see it for herself. Come look at what was in the bedroom. Come witness what Carly had done. The friend lived nearby, close enough to drive over in her car. She pulled up to the Smylie house maybe 30 minutes after receiving those bizarre texts. Still uncertain what this was about. Still thinking maybe it was an elaborate joke. But curious enough, concerned enough, connected enough to Carly to actually show up. Carly answered the door. She appeared calm when BW arrived. Not crying, not shaking, not showing visible distress. Just standing there, normal, casual, like any afternoon. She invited her friend inside, beckoned her to follow, started walking toward the bedrooms, toward where Ashley's body lay. BW followed, still confused, still wondering what this was. Carly opened the bedroom door, gestured inside, and there was Ashley Smylie, dead on the floor, blood visible, gunshot wounds obvious, real corpse, real murder scene, real death, not a joke, not a prank, not anything that should exist in a suburban Mississippi home on Tuesday afternoon. BW's reaction was exactly what any normal person would experience. Horror, shock, nausea, terror. She'd just seen her friend's mother dead, just realized Carly had killed her, just understood she was standing in an active murder scene. She wanted out, wanted away, wanted to leave immediately, but Carly tried stopping her, reached out, tried to engage her, tried to convince her to stay, maybe to help move the body, maybe to help clean up the crime scene, maybe just to be there as witness or accomplice or companion to shared guilt. The exact request isn't clear from testimony, but the intent was obvious. Carly wanted BW involved somehow. BW refused everything, pulled away from Carly, pushed past her, ran for the front door, got outside, got in her car, drove away as fast as she could, went directly home, immediately told her mother what she'd seen. Her mother called police right away, but that call wouldn't come in time, because Carly wasn't finished killing. Alone again, Carly made another decision. Heath would be home soon from his job. Her stepfather, Ashley's husband, the man who'd married into this family, who'd helped raise Carly, who treated her as his own daughter. He'd come home expecting normal evening, expecting Ashley to be there, expecting dinner and television and routine family time. Carly could have run, could have fled before Heath arrived, could have left the house, left the area, tried to escape, but she chose to stay, chose to wait, and what she did next proved premeditation, proved planning, proved consciousness of what she was doing. She picked up Ashley's cell phone, her mother's device, still functional, still unlocked, still receiving messages. Carly opened the text messaging application, found Heath's contact, started composing message as if she were Ashley, impersonating her dead mother to deceive her stepfather. "When will you be home?" The text appeared on Heath's phone from Ashley's number. Casual question. Normal spousal communication. Nothing suggesting anything wrong. Heath responded from his workplace. Said he'd be leaving soon. Would be home in approximately 30 minutes. Had no reason to suspect anything. Believed he was texting his wife. Believed everything was fine at home. Carly had sent that text for a reason. She wanted Heath to come home. Wanted to know when he'd arrive. Wanted to prepare. Because she had 3 bullets left. 3 unused rounds in the revolver. And she'd already told someone her plan in another text. "I put 3 in my mom and got 3 more waiting for my stepdad. 6 bullets. 6 targets. 3 for Ashley. 3 for Heath. All calculated. All intentional." She positioned herself where she'd have advantage. Where she could ambush Heath as he entered. Where she'd have clear shot. The gun remained in her possession. Loaded. Ready. She waited. Watched. Listened for his arrival. Heath Smylie pulled into the garage around 5:30 p.m. Ordinary Tuesday. Long workday finished. Coming home to family. He opened the door from garage into house. Called Ashley's name. Expected her to answer. Got silence. Called again. Nothing. Strange. She'd just texted. Should be here. Where was she? He walked through the house searching for his wife. Calling out. Looking around. Completely unaware that his stepdaughter was waiting with a weapon. Completely unsuspecting that Ashley was already dead. Just confused about why she wasn't responding. Carly emerged from her position. Raised the revolver. Aimed at Heath. Pulled the trigger. The bullet struck his shoulder. Tore through tissue. Heath went down. Wounded. Bleeding. In shock. Pain flooding through him. Looking up at Carly holding the gun. Understanding dawning. Ashley must be dead. Carly must have killed her. Now trying to kill him too. Carly attempted to fire a second round. Aimed the weapon. Pulled trigger again. But something malfunctioned. Gun jammed. Or she didn't operate it correctly. Or the mechanism failed somehow. The second shot didn't come. Heath lay on the floor wounded but alive. Conscious. Aware. Staring at his stepdaughter who'd just tried to murder him. Then Carly ran. Turned and fled. Out of the house. Into the neighborhood. 14 years old. Barefoot on pavement. No vehicle. No destination. No escape plan that made sense. Just running from the scene. From the attempted murder. From what she'd done. Heath reached for his phone despite his injury. Despite blood loss. Despite shock. He dialed 911. Told dispatcher what happened. His wife was dead. His stepdaughter shot him. He needed ambulance. Needed police. Needed help immediately. The call went out. Emergency response mobilized. Police arrived within minutes. Paramedics right behind. They found Heath wounded but stable. Found Ashley dead in the bedroom. Began securing the scene. Started searching for Carly. She couldn't be far. Teenage girl on foot. Officers spread through neighborhood. Checking yards. Looking everywhere. They located her hiding on a neighbor's property. When confronted by police, she didn't resist. Didn't fight. Didn't try to flee further. Just surrendered. Came with them. 14-year-old taken into custody. Transported to juvenile detention. While behind her, investigators began processing a double crime scene. 1 murder. 1 attempted murder. Both committed by a child. If you're still watching, like, share, subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what comes next. Before March 19, 2024, most people who knew Carly Madison Gregg saw an intelligent student with a bright future. Born April 23, 2009, she grew up in Mississippi, raised primarily by Ashley. Her biological father's involvement was limited according to court records. When Ashley married Heath Smylie, Carly gained a stepfather who tried building relationship with her. Blended family structure common in modern America. Early childhood showed exceptional cognitive ability. Teachers noticed immediately she grasped concepts faster than peers. Reading comprehension years advanced. Mathematical reasoning sophisticated for her age. Problem-solving skills that made educators take notice. She wasn't just above average. She was genuinely gifted. Elementary school testing confirmed what classroom performance suggested. IQ significantly elevated. Abilities placing her in top percentiles. School district made recommendation. Skip 4th grade entirely. Jump from 3rd directly to 5th. Academic acceleration to match her intellectual capacity. Keep her challenged. Keep her engaged. The decision worked academically. She handled advanced coursework without struggle. Maintained excellent grades. Kept pace with older students. Proved she could succeed at that level. But socially and emotionally, problems emerged. Being youngest created dynamics she couldn't fully navigate. Classmates were taller, more physically mature, further along in adolescent development. Social hierarchies among teenagers are brutal. Being smart doesn't protect you, sometimes marks you as target. She made friends, but connections seemed superficial. Lunch companions without deep bonds. Group project partners without real intimacy. Home life appeared stable from outside. Heath worked steadily, provided financially, treated Carly as his daughter. Ashley taught mathematics, brought home steady income, maintained household. On surface, functional blended family. But underneath, emotional distance persisted. Carly never fully accepted Heath. Maintained politeness without warmth. Typical step relationship that never quite became genuine family feeling. Ashley pushed academic achievement hard. Set high expectations. Wanted Carly to maximize potential. To build successful future. To use her gifts productively. Normal maternal ambition. Normal pressure on gifted child. But pressure nonetheless. Expectations that felt heavy sometimes. Mental health struggles emerged during middle school years. Mood disturbances became obvious. Emotional volatility increased. Behavioral changes concerned adults around her. Depression diagnosed. Anxiety identified. Treatment recommended. She began seeing mental health professionals regularly. Doctors prescribed Lexapro, SSRI medication, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor commonly used for depression and anxiety. The medication helped initially, stabilized mood swings, made daily functioning more manageable. She took it consistently, dosage monitored, seemed effective for managing symptoms. But weeks before the murder, something changed with her medication. The prescription was altered. Different formulation or entirely different drug. Court records aren't completely explicit about details. What's clear is the timing. Change occurred close to March 19th. Defense would later argue this change triggered catastrophic reaction. That altering brain chemistry destabilized her completely. Self-harm behavior manifested during these troubled years. She cut herself, burned her skin, inflicted physical wounds. Classic symptom of severe emotional pain. External expression of internal agony. Ashley discovered this, got her additional treatment, more intensive therapy, but behavior continued despite intervention. She kept personal journal, private place for thoughts and feelings, but content was disturbing beyond normal teenage angst. Dark philosophical musings, violent ideation, questions about morality and evil. One entry became infamous for words underlined repeatedly. It's okay to be evil. Rationalization, permission, philosophy developing. Nobody could definitively interpret meaning. True crime content fascinated her intensely. She consumed murder documentaries obsessively. Read articles about famous killers. Studied cases. Learned details. Again, not unusual necessarily. True crime is mainstream, but combined with everything else, the interest took on sinister meaning in retrospect. Academic performance declined in months before murder. Grades slipping from previous excellence. Assignments turned in late or incomplete. Absences from school increasing. Teachers noticed. Filed reports. School counselor documented concerns. Something was wrong. Something deteriorating. Secret activities hidden from parents. Marijuana in her possession. THC vape pens concealed in her room. Burner cell phones for communications she wanted private. Double life carefully maintained. Public persona for adults. Private reality shared only with select peers. She was skilled at deception despite being 14. Relationship with Ashley grew increasingly contentious. Arguments escalated beyond normal mother-daughter friction. Conflicts over rules, over freedom, over boundaries. Tension visible to anyone paying attention. But underneath surface disagreements, something darker built. Resentment compounding. Rage accumulating. Internet search history from her devices showed disturbing pattern. Queries about firearms. About concealing crimes. About evidence disposal. About mental health defenses. All time-stamped to weeks before March 19th. Suggesting research, planning, preparation over time. Not spontaneous crisis but deliberate trajectory. She reported hearing voices according to psychiatric records. Auditory hallucinations. Voices commanding her. Telling her things. Symptoms suggesting possible psychosis. Possible schizophrenia. Severe mental illness beyond simple depression. But exact timing unclear. When did voices start? How long did they persist? Medical records protected by confidentiality kept many details sealed. March 19, 2024, started as normal school day for Carly. She attended classes, interacted with classmates, seemed fine to casual observers. No obvious crisis, no visible breakdown. Then came home and within hours killed her mother. Transition from normal to murderous happened in that house. In those hours. In ways that defy easy explanation. 14 years old. Gifted intellect. Troubled mind. Psychiatric patient. Drug user. And killer. All existing in same person. All contributing to what happened that Tuesday. Understanding her requires accepting complexity. Accepting contradiction. Accepting that intelligence and illness and adolescence and violence combined into catastrophe nobody prevented. Rankin County Sheriff's Department investigators arrived at the Smylie residence within minutes of Heath's 911 call. What they found was active crime scene requiring immediate securing. 2 victims. 1 dead. 1 wounded. Teenage suspect fled but caught nearby. Now began the meticulous work of building prosecutable case. Crime scene tape went up surrounding the property. Neighbors kept at distance. Media held beyond perimeter. Inside, investigators began systematic documentation. Every room photographed from multiple angles. Every surface examined for evidence. Creating comprehensive visual record before anything was moved or collected. Ashley's body remained where she'd fallen until medical examiner arrived. Position documented carefully. Blood spatter patterns analyzed. Trajectory of bullets calculated. Gunpowder stippling around wounds measured. All providing information about shooter's position. About distance. About angle of fire. About sequence of shots. Dr. Laura Kavanaugh, the county medical examiner, conducted preliminary examination at scene before body removal. She documented 3 entrance wounds to skull. Noted powder burns indicating close-range discharge. Observed massive cranial trauma. Confirmed death was instantaneous from first shot. Subsequent bullets struck corpse already lifeless. Body transported to morgue for complete autopsy. Dr. Kavanaugh performed thorough examination. Recovered bullets from brain tissue. Documented wound paths through skull and soft tissue. Took tissue samples. Ran toxicology. Comprehensive post-mortem investigation providing scientific foundation for murder charge. Heath was treated at the scene by paramedics. Gunshot wound to shoulder serious but not life-threatening. Bullet had passed through without hitting major arteries. He was transported to hospital for surgery. Bullet removed. Wound cleaned and sutured. Recovery would take months. Physical therapy required. But he'd survive. The weapon was located on the property where Carly dropped it during her flight. .357 Magnum revolver. 3 spent casings. 3 live rounds remaining. Exactly as expected from accounts of shooting. Firearms secured as evidence. Serial number traced to Heath's legal purchase. Registered properly. Owned lawfully. Just accessed unlawfully by 14-year-old. Ballistics testing confirmed weapon fired all bullets. Recovered projectiles examined under microscope. Rifling marks matched. Striations unique to this specific gun. Bullets from Ashley's skull. Bullet from Heath's shoulder. All came from same firearm. Scientific certainty connecting weapon to wounds. Gunshot residue testing performed on Carly's hands shortly after arrest. Swabs taken from palms and fingers. Laboratory analysis detected barium, antimony, and lead particles. Chemical signature of fired ammunition. Distribution pattern on her skin consistent with holding and discharging handgun. Physical proof she pulled trigger. Cell phone analysis became crucial investigation component. Carly's phone extracted using forensic software. Text messages recovered including conversation with BW. Are you squeamish around dead bodies? Preserved with timestamps. Geolocation data proving phone was at house during murder. Complete message history providing timeline. Ashley's phone examined revealed texts sent after her death. Messages to Heath. When will you be home? Sent at time Ashley was already dead. Impossible for victim to have sent them. Proving Carly used mother's device. Used it to lure stepfather home. Premeditation evidence for attempted murder charge. Digital forensics team examined all electronic devices in Carly's room. Computer hard drive copied. Browser history extracted. Search queries documented. Pattern emerged. Weeks before March 19th, searches about firearms. About concealing evidence. About insanity defenses. About criminal law. All suggesting research phase. Planning phase. Preparation for what came. Marijuana and vaping equipment found hidden in her bedroom was photographed and collected. Quantities measured. THC content tested. Packaging preserved. Defense would claim Ashley discovered these items that day. That discovery triggered confrontation. That confrontation escalated to violence. Prosecution would note items were well concealed. Discovery unlikely to be accidental. Personal journal seized from her room became significant evidence. Spiral notebook containing months of entries. Most typical teenage content. Complaints about school. Thoughts about friends. But scattered throughout were concerning passages. It's okay to be evil. Written and underlined. Dark philosophy. Violent ideation. Prosecutors would use this to show mindset. Developing acceptance of wrongdoing. Social media accounts fully investigated. Public Instagram and Snapchat showed normal teenage life. Photos with friends. School events. Typical content. But investigators found private accounts. Finsta profiles where real thoughts appeared. Dark humor. Violent memes. Disturbing shares. Evidence of double life. Of presenting false face while harboring darkness. School records subpoenaed provided background. Transcript showing academic decline. Grades dropping in final semester. Absences increasing. Disciplinary referrals for attitude problems. Teacher reports expressing concern. Counselor notes documenting changes. Pattern of deterioration documented by school system. Medical records obtained through legal process showed mental health treatment history. Lexapro prescription confirmed. Dates of medication changes noted. Psychiatric diagnoses reviewed within confidentiality limits. Hospitalization records, if any, existed. Treatment notes from therapists. Building picture of her psychological state. Interviews accumulated witness statements. BW gave detailed account. Receiving texts. going to house, seeing body, Carly's demeanor, attempts to involve her, her fear and flight, critical eyewitness testimony. Neighbor reported hearing sounds that might have been gunshots around relevant time. Others described seeing police response. Heath provided statement from hospital. Pain medication affected memory somewhat, but core facts remained clear. Receiving text, coming home, being shot, seeing Carly with gun, her expression, his survival, his loss, victim testimony carrying enormous emotional weight. Family members interviewed about Carly's history, extended family about her childhood, friends about her recent behavior, teachers about classroom conduct, mental health professionals within legal limits, everyone contributing pieces to complete picture. District Attorney Brad Bramlett reviewed the accumulating evidence, consulted with investigators, analyzed strengths and weaknesses. Conclusion was clear. Strong case, overwhelming proof, video surveillance, forensic evidence, witness testimony, confession elements during processing, everything needed for conviction, decision made to charge as adult, juvenile court transfer motion filed, hearing held, judge ruled in prosecution favor. Carly would face adult charges, adult penalties, adult consequences if convicted, first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, each carrying serious prison time. Grand jury presented with evidence package, testimony from investigators, medical examiner, forensic experts, witnesses, true bill returned, formal indictment issued, 3 counts, all felonies, all serious, arraignment scheduled. Carly would be formally charged, would enter plea, would begin legal process toward trial. Evidence was cataloged, stored, chain of custody maintained, everything prepared for trial presentation, photographs organized, reports filed, witnesses prepared, building case that would prove beyond reasonable doubt that Carly Madison Gregg murdered her mother and tried murdering her stepfather. Case that would demand maximum punishment under law. The Smylie family had installed a home security system months before March 19, 2024. Standard precaution. Many households have them. Doorbell cameras, interior cameras, cloud-connected recording. The kitchen camera was positioned to monitor that room continuously. Wide-angle lens captured the space. Audio recording accompanied video. Everything uploaded automatically to secure cloud storage. That system became the most damaging evidence against Carly. Technical specifications mattered legally. Defense would challenge authenticity. Chain of custody needed establishment. Forensic video analysts testified about system specifications. Recording resolution, frame rate, timestamp synchronization, cloud upload verification, digital signatures confirming files hadn't been altered. Every technical requirement met for courtroom admissibility. Footage retrieved from cloud storage showed events of March 19th with devastating clarity. Timestamps provided precise chronology. Audio captured sounds from rooms beyond camera view. Movement tracked through visible areas. Facial expressions documented. Behavior preserved. Everything prosecutors needed to prove consciousness and planning. The video began with empty kitchen. Timestamp showing 4:47 p.m. Quiet house. Nothing unusual visible. Then Carly entered frame from direction of bedrooms. Walking normally. No signs of distress. Casual gait. Natural posture. Moving through kitchen toward her own bedroom. Disappeared from view heading down hallway. For minutes elapsed. 4:47 p.m. to 4:51 p.m. Camera couldn't see bedrooms. Couldn't capture what happened with Ashley. But audio picked up sounds. Enhanced analysis made them clear. 3 distinct reports. Bang, bang, bang. Gunfire. 3 shots in rapid succession. Sounds of murder recorded even though act itself happened off camera. 4:51 p.m. Carly reappeared walking back through kitchen. For minutes after disappearing. For minutes that transformed her from daughter to killer. She moved into living area partially visible to camera. Sat down. Pulled out her phone. Video showed her texting. Thumbs moving on screen. Focused attention. Normal teenage phone use. Except she was texting friend about corpse in bedroom. Facial expression analysis became critical element. Forensic psychologists studied every frame. Examined her face during this period. Looking for emotion. For distress. For breakdown. What they documented was neutrality. Calm expression. No crying. No trembling. No visible anxiety. Just teenager using smartphone after committing murder. 5:14 p.m. Front door opened. BW entered. Friend arriving after receiving disturbing texts. Surveillance captured them together briefly. Carly leading BW toward bedrooms. Both walking out of frame. Approximately 2 minutes later, BW ran back through kitchen. Terror obvious on her face. Hands shaking. Fumbling with door handle. Escaping. Running outside. Getting away. Carly followed BW to door. Attempted conversation. Reached out toward friend. Tried engaging. BW ignored her. Kept moving. Got outside. Left property. Video showed Carly watching her leave. Standing at doorway. Then turning back inside. Returning to living area. Sitting down. Alone with what she'd done. 5:18 p.m. through 5:43 p.m. 25 minutes of footage. Most disturbing segment. Carly with family dogs. She sat on floor within camera range. Pet them. Interacted. Threw toy for retrieval. Normal human-animal behavior. As if waiting for something ordinary. As if mother wasn't dead nearby. Body language completely relaxed. Zero visible stress. Behavioral experts debated interpretation. Does calm interaction prove sanity? Does normal behavior show awareness? Or does it demonstrate dissociation? Different specialists reached opposite conclusions from identical footage. Prosecution saw consciousness and control. Defense saw mental illness and detachment. Same evidence. Competing expert opinions. 5:44 p.m. Movement change. Carly stood. Checked her phone. Picked up second device. Ashley's phone visible in her hand. Camera showed her typing on that device. Creating messages. Sending texts. Using mother's phone. Impersonating dead woman. Luring Heath home. This footage proved sophistication. Proved deception. Proved planning for second attack. 5:46 p.m. through 6:02 p.m. 16 minutes. Waiting period. Carly moved around house. Not always in camera view, but occasionally visible. Checking positions. Looking toward entrance areas. Preparing for Heath's arrival. Gun visible in her hand during some frames. Weapon ready. Loaded. Waiting to ambush. 6:03 p.m. Audio change. Garage door mechanism audible. Heath arriving home from work. His voice captured calling Ashley's name. No visual of garage. Camera angle didn't reach there, but sounds carried. Heath entering house. Searching. Walking into trap. Then gunshot. Single report. Heath's yell. Carly visible running through kitchen. Gun in hand. Fleeing through different exit. 6:04 p.m. Heath stumbled into camera view. Clutching his shoulder. Blood visible on clothing. Pain evident on face. He pulled phone from pocket. Dialed emergency. Voice recorded making 911 call. Every word preserved. My stepdaughter shot me. My wife is dead. Send help. Desperation audible. Trauma obvious. Real-time documentation of attempted murder victim reporting crime. Video authentication process was thorough. Defense hired own forensic expert. Examined files. Checked for editing. Looked for manipulation. Found none. Cloud storage logs matched timestamps. Network data confirmed uploads. Digital forensics verified integrity. This was genuine, unaltered footage. Real documentation of actual events. Prosecutors planned to show this video extensively at trial. Multiple viewings. Different segments highlighted. Slow motion during key moments. Freeze frames showing facial expressions. Audio enhancement during important sections. making jury understand what video proved about Carly's mental state. Defense couldn't challenge authenticity, couldn't dispute what footage showed. Only option was interpretation. Argue calmness meant dissociation. Claim normal behavior masked mental breakdown. Suggest appearance of control was actually absence of consciousness. Difficult argument when video showed such purposeful directed activity. The camera captured everything after the murder. Every choice Carly made. Every action she took. Every moment between killings. Technology preserved evidence that wouldn't exist in earlier era. Witnesses forget. Memories fade. Physical evidence degrades. Video endures. Stored digitally. Retrievable indefinitely. Presenting undeniable truth. But video couldn't explain motivation. Couldn't reveal why she killed. Couldn't show what happened in her mind. For that, trial would need testimony. Expert opinions. Psychological analysis. Video proved what she did. Trial would determine whether she was criminally responsible. Whether she understood right from wrong. Whether she deserved punishment or treatment. As we continue, like, share, subscribe and hit the bell. September 2024, 6 months after murder. Rankin County Circuit Court. Judge Dewey Arthur's courtroom. Time for trial. Time for 12 citizens to decide Carly Madison Gregg's fate. She entered wearing juvenile detention clothing. Now 15 years old. Birthday had passed since March. Still looked younger than her age. Small. Glasses. Baby-faced. Jury would see that youth. Voir dire process consumed multiple days. Jury selection in high-profile case is complicated. Pretrial publicity had been extensive. Local news covered it heavily. National media picked it up. Teenager murdering mother. Everyone had heard something. Finding truly impartial jurors seemed nearly impossible. Attorneys questioned potential jurors extensively. Could they be fair despite publicity? Could they convict a child? Could they consider insanity defense objectively? Could they set aside emotional reactions? Question after question. Juror after juror. Many excused for cause. Others struck by attorneys. Slow process of elimination. Finally 12 selected plus alternates. 7 women. 5 men. Range of ages. Different backgrounds. Different life experiences. All swore they could judge based solely on evidence. Could follow law as instructed. Could reach verdict through deliberation. They were seated. Trial could begin. Opening statements set the competing narratives. Prosecution went first as always. They outlined chronology of March 19th. Described shooting. Promised video evidence. Forensic proof. Witness testimony. Medical examiner findings. Said they'd prove beyond reasonable doubt that Carly murdered Ashley and attempted to murder Heath. That she was sane. That she knew what she was doing. That she deserved conviction. Defense opening acknowledged killing but reframed everything through mental illness lens. Carly suffered psychiatric disorder. Heard voices. Experienced dissociation. Medication changes triggered crisis. She couldn't distinguish right from wrong during violence. Wasn't herself. Needed treatment, not prison. Their entire strategy. Their only defense. Insanity. Witness testimony began. Prosecution built case systematically. Heath testified first. Walked to stand still showing effects of injury. Faced the girl who shot him. Described March 19th. Receiving text from Ashley's phone. Coming home. Calling her name. Being ambushed. Bullet striking shoulder. Falling. Seeing Carly with weapon. His description of her expression. Eyes looking different. Face changed. Something wrong. Cross-examination focused on that description. Defense attorney probed. What exactly did he mean by different? Could he describe it more specifically? Heath struggled finding words. Just seemed like someone else was there. Like Carly wasn't fully present. Defense used this. Argued it proved dissociation. Alternate state. Mental illness manifestation. Redirect asked about communication. Did Carly speak afterward? Yes. What did she say? Details emerged. Coherent sentences. Rational statements. understanding of situation, undermining defense claims. Someone truly dissociated couldn't communicate so clearly. BW testified. Young girl visibly nervous, facing courtroom, describing worst day of her life, receiving texts about dead bodies, going to house despite misgivings, following Carly down hallway, seeing Ashley's corpse, realizing friend had killed her mother, terror flooding through her, wanting out, running away, refusing requests to help, text messages displayed on screens. Jury read exact words. Are you squeamish around dead bodies? Casual inquiry about corpse. Moments after murder. Some jurors looked disturbed. Others shook heads. Message's tone was chilling. Lead investigator described crime scene processing, evidence collection, forensic testing procedures, building methodical case, chain of custody for every item, professional testimony establishing foundation for scientific evidence. Dr. Kavanaugh testified about autopsy, 3 gunshot wounds, entrance points, trajectories, close-range indicators, cause of death documented, photographs shown to jury. Some looked away, others studied images, understanding brutality of what occurred. Forensic specialists followed one after another. Ballistics expert, gunshot residue analyst, DNA technician, cell phone forensic specialist, each presenting scientific findings, each piece of evidence adding to prosecution case, building toward overwhelming proof. Then the video, played multiple times. Prosecutors narrated what jury was seeing, pointed out behaviors, highlighted expressions, showed timeline. Carly after murder, calm, texting, with dogs, waiting for Heath, running after shooting him. Visual evidence more powerful than any testimony. Jury watched silently, absorbing implications. Defense presented their case. Mental health experts testified. Psychiatrists explained diagnoses, possible schizophrenia, medication effects, dissociative disorders, auditory hallucinations, loss of reality contact, built scientific framework for insanity defense. Their expert had evaluated Carly extensively, concluded she was legally insane during murder, couldn't appreciate wrongfulness. Voices commanded her actions. Cross-examination was brutal. Prosecution highlighted that expert was paid defense witness, challenged methodology, pointed to functional behavior captured on video. How does someone that psychotic text coherently? Use victim's phone to deceive? Execute ambush? Wait strategically. Expert struggled explaining contradictions. Prosecution's rebuttal psychiatrists testified. They'd also evaluated Carly, reached different conclusions. Yes, she had mental health issues, but not legal insanity. She understood right from wrong, made choices, tried concealing crime, all proving sanity under law. Their testimony equally credible, science equally sound. Jury would have to decide which experts to believe. Battle continued. Neuropsychologist for defense discussed adolescent brains, frontal lobe development, impulse control deficits, combined with mental illness, combined with medication changes. Perfect storm. But prosecution countered with adult-level planning evident in her actions. Sophistication inconsistent with claimed impairment. Character witnesses testified briefly. Teachers describing intelligence. Neighbors calling her polite. Defense humanizing defendant. Prosecution reminding that evil can wear normal face. That intelligence doesn't prevent criminality. That politeness doesn't prove innocence. Journal was read aloud. It's okay to be evil. Words hanging heavy. Defense claimed this proved mental illness. Prosecution argued it showed awareness of choices. Same evidence. Opposite interpretations. Jury would decide meaning. Internet searches presented. Firearms queries. Concealment research. Defense information. Weeks before murder. Defense claimed anxiety-driven research. Prosecution argued murder preparation, premeditation evidence, planning over time. Closing arguments lasted hours. Prosecution synthesized everything. Video evidence, forensics, planning, consciousness of guilt. She knew what she did, knew it was wrong, tried hiding it. Mental illness doesn't excuse murder. Guilty verdicts required. Defense made final emotional appeal. She's a child, sick child, failed by everyone. Medication betrayed her. Brain malfunctioned. Conviction means giving up on rehabilitation, means punishing illness, not justice. Judge instructed on law, elements of charges, burden of proof, reasonable doubt standard, insanity requirements, sent jury to deliberate, 12 strangers, deciding whether 14-year-old murderer was sane or insane, guilty or not guilty, future hanging in balance. Jury deliberation began late morning. 12 people, separate room, evidence to discuss, testimony to evaluate, insanity defense to assess. Most complex cases take days, competing experts, conflicting evidence, difficult decisions. But this jury moved quickly, surprisingly quickly, speed that would tell its own story. 2 hours, that's all they took. 120 minutes from receiving case to reaching verdict. For 3 felony charges, for insanity defense evaluation, for life or death decision about 15-year-old. All decided in 120 minutes. Short deliberation usually signals one thing: overwhelming evidence, clear conclusion, easy decision despite heavy subject matter. Note came from jury room. Verdict reached. Bailiff informed judge. Judge Arthur ordered everyone back. Attorneys returned. Carly brought from holding cell. Media filled benches. Spectators packed gallery. Moment approaching. 15-year-old would learn if jury found her sane or insane. Guilty or not guilty. Prison or treatment. Procedure followed standard format. Judge asked if verdicts were ready. Foreman confirmed. Forms passed forward. Judge reviewed silently. Maintained neutral expression. Professional detachment. Returned forms to be read publicly. Tension-filled courtroom. Silence absolute. Foreman stood. Read first verdict. On the charge of first-degree murder of Ashley Smylie, we the jury find the defendant guilty. Murder charge. Insanity rejected. Carly convicted. First count decided. Pattern emerging already. On the charge of attempted first-degree murder of Heath Smylie, we the jury find the defendant guilty. Second count. Another conviction. Jury wasn't accepting defense arguments. Wasn't buying mental illness excuse. On the charge of tampering with evidence, we the jury find the defendant guilty. Third count. Complete sweep. Guilty on everything. 3 felonies. 3 convictions. Insanity defense utterly rejected. Jury decided she was sane. Knew what she did. Deserved criminal punishment. Judge polled jury individually, each member confirming their vote. Juror 1, guilty on all counts. Juror 2, guilty on all counts. Through all 12, unanimous agreement. No holdouts, no dissenting voices. Everyone reached identical conclusion. Carly Madison Gregg murdered her mother. Tried murdering stepfather. Criminally responsible. Guilty. Why did insanity defense fail so completely? Why 2-hour deliberation? What made jury so certain she was sane? Video proved most persuasive. Jurors later told media they kept returning to surveillance footage, watching her behavior after murder, calm texting, dog interaction, waiting for Heath. All contradicted psychosis claims. Someone truly insane couldn't function so purposefully, couldn't plan so effectively, couldn't deceive so skillfully. Text message to BW undermined everything defense argued. I put 3 in my mom and got 3 more waiting for my stepdad. That statement showed clear awareness. She counted bullets, planned sequential attacks, communicated coherently about violence. Psychotic people don't think that clearly, don't articulate that precisely. Using Ashley's phone demolished insanity argument. Sophisticated deception. Understanding Heath would respond to message from wife. Planning ambush based on lured arrival. all requiring cognitive functions incompatible with legal insanity. Someone detached from reality can't execute complex plan. Request for BW's help proved consciousness of guilt. She knew murder was wrong, wanted to hide evidence, avoid consequences. Legally insane people don't understand they committed crime. Don't try concealing it. Carly clearly understood. Attempted cover-up anyway. Expert testimony failed persuading. Defense psychiatrists claimed psychotic break. But conclusions clashed with video evidence. Clashed with common sense. Jury trusted their eyes over expert opinions. Saw functional behavior. Rejected insanity explanation completely. Prosecution's experts were more credible. Their interpretation fit observable facts. Yes, Carly had mental illness. But mental illness isn't legal insanity. Requires extreme impairment. Total loss of reality contact. She didn't meet that threshold. Not close. Internet searches contradicted sudden break theory. Research weeks beforehand about weapons. About concealment. About defenses. Showed premeditation developing over time. Not spontaneous psychotic episode. Calculated intention executed when opportunity arose. Journal entry harmed defense more than helped. It's okay to be evil. Not psychotic delusion. Philosophical rationalization. Giving herself permission. Choosing wrong knowingly. Awareness of evil demonstrated by statement itself. Medication argument lacked persuasive power. Defense claimed Lexapro change triggered crisis. But timeline was weak. Change happened weeks earlier. If medication caused problem, why delayed acting? Why research murder methods beforehand? Causation claim didn't hold up under scrutiny. Her functioning afterward proved sanity. Normal texting, coherent speech, purposeful movement, strategic positioning. Psychotic breaks don't allow organized behavior. Don't permit rational planning. Don't enable clear communication. Video showed all three, repeatedly. Strategic legal decisions undermined mental illness claims. Rejecting 2 plea offers. Choosing trial. Betting on insanity verdict. Required rational thought. Understanding options. Weighing consequences. Truly insane people can't strategize about defenses. Carly participated fully in decision-making. 2 hours said everything. Jury barely debated. Saw evidence as overwhelming. Insanity defense as unpersuasive. Guilty verdicts as inevitable. Quick decision meant strong consensus. Clear proof. Obvious conclusion. After verdicts, defense moved for new trial. Standard post-conviction motion. Arguing trial errors. Evidence problems. Jury instruction issues. All motions denied immediately. Convictions stood firm. No second chances. No do-overs. Finality. Carly showed minimal reaction to verdicts. Sat quietly while guilty verdicts were announced. No tears. No emotional breakdown. Same flat effect maintained throughout trial. Whether this reflected acceptance, shock, continued dissociation, or mental state remained debatable. Legally, it no longer mattered. She was convicted, found guilty, now faced sentencing. September 20th, 2024. Carly Madison Gregg convicted on all counts. 3 felony convictions. Insanity defense rejected in 2 hours. Age 15. Facing mandatory life sentence for first-degree murder. Sentencing hearing would determine specifics. Life with eventual parole possibility, or life without parole. Die in prison. Grow old imprisoned? Judge would decide next. Days after conviction. Sentencing hearing scheduled. Most important court appearance remaining. Judge Dewey Arthur would decide Carly's punishment within statutory range. Mississippi law for first-degree murder allows life with parole eligibility after decades. Or life without any parole possibility. Ever. Judge had that discretion, that power, that responsibility. Victim impact statements came first. Heath Smylie's opportunity to describe loss, to express pain, to demand justice. Everyone expected anger, expected him to seek maximum punishment, expected victim wanting vengeance. What he actually said shocked everyone present. He still loved Carly despite everything. Despite Ashley's death. Despite being shot. Despite all destruction. He'd helped raise her. Watched her grow. Still saw a broken child needing help. Didn't want her condemned to die imprisoned. Wanted treatment. Rehabilitation. Hope of release someday. Even if 40 years away. 50 years. Something. Any possibility of freedom eventually. His words moved many to tears. Surviving victim choosing forgiveness. Wounded man showing extraordinary grace. Asking judge for mercy. For sentence allowing parole eligibility. Don't lock child away forever. Let her grow. Change. Become something better. Remarkable testimony carrying tremendous moral weight. Prosecution proceeded regardless. Acknowledged Heath's forgiveness as admirable. But reminded court of Ashley. She received no mercy from daughter. No compassion. No second chance. Justice for murdered mother required serious response. Society needed protection. Maximum sentence appropriate and necessary. Pre-sentence investigation report was presented. Thick document. Carly's background. Mental health history. Family circumstances. Educational record. Prior conduct. Risk assessment. Probation officer recommendations. Everything judge needed for informed decision. Defense presented mitigation package. Emphasized youth. 14 at time of crime. Still developing. Brain incomplete. Frontal lobes immature. Science showing teenagers differ fundamentally from adults. Less culpable. More capable of rehabilitation. Cited Supreme Court precedents. Miller versus Alabama. Graham versus Florida. Cases establishing special protections for juvenile offenders. They argued court must conduct proper Miller hearing. Must examine specific factors. Youth, immaturity, home environment, rehabilitation potential. Must determine whether Carly was irreparably corrupt or capable of change. Must make explicit findings. Before imposing harshest available punishment. Defense begged for life with parole. Even if decades away. Something. Hope. Reason to rehabilitate. Don't condemn 15-year-old to die imprisoned. Give her possibility of freedom in 50s, 60s, somewhere far future. Prosecution countered with crime severity. Premeditated murder. 3 shots execution style. Attempted second murder. Evidence tampering. Planning evident throughout. Some acts so heinous youth becomes secondary consideration. Some crimes demand maximum response. Ashley deserves justice. Society deserves protection. Judge Arthur listened. Reviewed reports. Considered arguments. Thought about crime. About victim. About defendant. About competing values. Justice versus mercy. Punishment versus rehabilitation. Finality versus hope. Protection versus redemption. Then he spoke. Addressed Carly directly. Acknowledged her age. Recognized mental health struggles. Noted difficult circumstances. But focused on choices. On actions. On consequences. Ashley deserved justice. Crime demanded serious response. Society required protection from dangerous individuals. Sentence imposed. First-degree murder. Life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Attempted murder. Life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Tampering 10 years. All concurrent. Life without parole. Maximum sentence. Harshest available. Permanent. Final. Room reactions varied. Some thought justice served. Others thought mercy denied. 15-year-old just received death sentence by incarceration. Would spend every remaining day behind bars. 60 years. 70. 80. However long she lived. All imprisoned. Until death in custody. Carly stood motionless as sentence was pronounced. No tears. No reaction. Guards led her away. Back to detention. Eventually to adult prison at 18. Life sentence beginning immediately. Appeals would follow. But unless overturned, she'd never leave. Sentence sparked immediate controversy. Juvenile justice advocates condemned it. Called it cruel. unconstitutional, violating Miller requirements, failing to properly consider youth, imposing adult punishment on child. They promised legal challenges ahead. Victim rights groups supported sentence. Said heinous murder deserves maximum punishment regardless of age. Said Ashley's life mattered. Said judge did right thing. Maximum penalty for maximum crime. That sentence created constitutional crisis. Defense immediately filed appeal notice. Began building challenge. Federal constitutional arguments. Mississippi Supreme Court would eventually review. Current appeals pending February 2026. Appeal raises three main challenges. First, trial speed violated due process. 6 months from murder to conviction too fast. Inadequate preparation time. Ineffective assistance of counsel. Constitutional right to adequate defense compromised. Second, improper Miller hearing. Judge didn't make required findings. Didn't adequately examine youth factors. Didn't determine permanent incorrigibility. Didn't follow Supreme Court mandates. Sentencing violated constitutional precedents. Third, Eighth Amendment violation. Life without parole for 14-year-old constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. Violates evolving standards of decency. Ignores brain science. Contradicts contemporary understanding of juvenile culpability and rehabilitation potential. Mississippi Attorney General defending conviction and sentence. Arguing procedures followed correctly. Justice served appropriately. No constitutional violations occurred. Carly received all protections law requires. Sentence fits crime severity. Public remains divided. Justice for Carly campaign raised over $30,000. Supporters believe she deserves second chance eventually. Believe courts rushed. Believe sentence is excessive. Want constitutional protections enforced. Others maintain she deserves life imprisonment. That age doesn't excuse brutality. That Ashley deserves justice more than killer deserves mercy. That society needs permanent protection from someone capable of such violence. Mississippi Supreme Court will decide eventually. Review briefs. Hear oral arguments. Issue ruling. Could affirm sentence. Could order new sentencing hearing. Could even overturn conviction entirely if errors were severe enough. Decision could take year or more. Appellate process moves slowly. Meanwhile, Carly serves sentence. 16 years old now. February 2026. Still incarcerated. Will transfer to adult prison at 18. Life without parole unless appeals succeed. Decades stretching ahead. Growing old imprisoned. Eventually dying in custody. Unless courts intervene. For Ashley's family, case remains open wound. Appeals delay closure. Relitigate trauma. They want finality. Want sentence upheld. Want justice to stand. For Heath, feelings stay complex. He forgave. Asked for mercy. Court imposed maximum anyway. Does he support appeal? Position remains private. Man dealing with impossible situation. For society, fundamental questions persist. How do we treat children who commit heinous crimes? Where do we balance accountability with capacity for change? How do we honor victims while recognizing offender youth? No easy answers. February 2026. Carly Madison Gregg sits in Mississippi prison. 16 years old. Life without parole. Unless Mississippi Supreme Court decides that's unconstitutional. Unless judges find her sentence violates Constitution. Unless 14-year-old murderer gets second chance. The courts will decide. Eventually, justice or mercy, punishment or rehabilitation, finality or hope. And one way or another, Carly Madison Gregg's fate will be determined. Either die in prison, or someday, decades from now, possibly walk free. The law will speak. The Constitution will be interpreted. And a life hangs in balance. Subscribe for Mississippi Supreme Court decision when it's announced. Comment whether 14-year-olds should get life without parole. Like if you think she deserves second chance or if Ashley deserves justice more. Share to join the debate about juvenile sentencing. Turn on notifications for the ruling. Justice for Ashley Smylie. Future for Carly Gregg? The courts will decide.